So I've never told someone to start YouTube faster than I am right now. And after everything I've seen over the last 10 years of posting not only myself online, but going full time, being a creative with a growing family, this year I think is the final version of YouTube that still works on easy mode. And I know that sounds crazy because everybody says, YouTube's oversaturated or it's too late, the algorithm's changed, or you, like I said, need to be famous already. But if your goal isn't fame, which mine definitely is not, if your goal is more time with your kids or more flexibility and building something that actually fits your life, YouTube still works incredibly well. So if I were starting from 0 subscribers this year as a mom of 5 with limited time and zero interest in being this quote unquote influencer, this is the exact system that I would follow. Now, this is not hypothetically, we're going to talk and break it down step by step. But real quick, why should you even listen to me? And to that I say, there is one reason and one reason alone. Not only have I built and grown a 7-figure creator business, but I've done so during naps and nights only when my kids are sleeping alongside my husband. This is because I build businesses is within these constraints. So for anyone who doesn't have a lot of time or whose values lie in being a present parent or homeschooling your kids, and that's where mine lie, those are the people I help the most. And so it's asking this question: how would it be possible to scale to 6 or 7 figures working 1 hour a day? So this is not about becoming a quote unquote YouTuber, which is what I sought out to do 10 years ago. It's about building a real business this year within the constraints that God has given you that so many people use as excuses as to why it's not the right time or it's not possible for you. But if you guys are new here, my name is Haley and I help new and upcoming creators build products that they own so that they don't have to be reliant on algorithms. If that is something you're interested in, subscribe and let's get into step 0, which is like from the baseline, what you should know. And we're going to talk about how being successful on YouTube actually works. So what you have to know right now in going into all these steps on how to be successful this year on YouTube, if you want it fast and you have no subscribers, is my husband and I do this full time. We make 7 figures doing so, and we don't make our living on YouTube. We use YouTube to make a living. That distinction really matters because it removes pressure to perform on the platform. It also removes the need for virality. The best part for us is it aligns with our family values and our life. I don't have to wake up thinking, how many views did I not get today? How many sponsorships am I not able to, meet the quota for, and therefore I can't pay my bills? I did it that way for years, and now I'm doing it the opposite. So let's go ahead and get a little bit more granular with step number 1. The first thing you need to do is to obviously pick a niche. I talk about niches a lot on this channel. Everyone talks about niches. Nowadays they're saying you are your niche, or there's no such thing as a niche, or you don't need to niche down, talk about whatever you want. But basically at the end of the day, I truly see this with my most successful clients, with myself as well. You need to pick a niche or category where you are the proof of concept. People trust results. No matter the niche you're in, you could be in gardening, accounting, social media, homesteading, or motherhood. They trust your direct results and not titles. You don't have to be the most qualified person on paper, but every viewer is subconsciously always asking, why should I be listening to you? Hence my whole spiel in the beginning. And it's not that you want to tell them, you want to show them that through your expertise, your knowledge, and also the stories that build trust. Your life should already answer that question. You have to be living proof that what you're talking about actually changed something for you. What's interesting is that our most successful students are usually the least impressive on paper, funnily enough. All of our most successful students have the most amount of kids. I'm talking 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 kids. They don't have fancy credentials. They don't have like this expert label. But these students have is that they have lived experience. They didn't learn the problem in theory. They lived it, they figured it out, and shared from where they were. So it's not just about, pursue your passion. Your life has to tell a story. So for example, Jamaril, one of our former students, she didn't just start as like this food expert. She was batch cooking for a large family because she had to, and she shared that reality. Her day-to-day life answered a pain point other families were quietly struggling with. Another student, Lisa from Farmhouse and Boone, years ago, I think she had probably 4, maybe 5 kids, and she wanted to cook from scratch, ferment foods, live the crunchy mom life, live more intentionally on a small homestead. And so she just naturally shared her journey along the way, and her content grew as her knowledge grew. And so that's the pattern. Once you know what you're the proof of, everything else gets so much easier. Step number 2 is you want to define your novel offer. A lot of people out there are thinking, I have a niche, I'm already posting, and maybe you're getting views or not. But if you're not getting sales, it doesn't matter your own digital products, your physical products, or even like sales as far as like sponsors don't want to pay you because you just can't convert to their products, you probably don't have enough authority and trust around what you do. And this is fixed by creating a novel offer. So this is your channel's unique purpose and what sets you apart from the sea of people out there. Growth accelerates when YouTube understands who your content is for. If you're all over the place and I'm posting about a bunch of different topics within your umbrella of your category, you're confusing the algorithm and it doesn't know where to even send your stuff to. So random content ends up equaling slower growth. Your novel offer fixes that. So it's not a product, it's basically the lens through which you create content. So you want to clarify, like, who do you help, what problem you solve, why your approach is different, hence the word novel. And I'll give you an example in a minute. This part is important. I did a whole video on this up here, so you should watch that later. But basically, if you figure this out, success on any platform will become infinitely easier. You want to solve a common problem. So you should write this down and just burn it into your brain. It took me years and years to understand how to go viral, how to stand out really fast. And this is what I teach people and it works for them. So anyways, you want to solve a common problem, like how to lose weight, in a unique way. And that would be how to lose weight in 20 minutes a day while being around your 5 kids. That's butchered, but I hope you understand it's unique, right? And also package it in a system that you've invented. A good concrete example of this is one of our students, Ashley Buffa, okay? She was posting about large family stuff, homeschooling, and when she worked with us, she's like, I wanna be an expert on homeschooling. And so she rebranded to homeschooling, but instead of sharing like what everyone else does in the sea of homeschoolers, like curriculum reviews or day in the life, she comes at it from a unique or novel perspective. So after 18 years of homeschooling, she now shares how homeschooling will expose every flaw in the mom's discipline, the mom's identity. And she puts this on her website and everywhere. And also the mom's leadership. I'm a homeschool mom and this cuts to me deep. Everything that is not working in my homeschooling is a reflection of me. And that's what she focuses on. She focuses on the mom first, and everything else flows as a byproduct. Do you see how in this seemingly oversaturated niche, even if you're not a homeschooler, if you're not really familiar with this, you would understand that she invented a new way of giving similar information. So when you do this, when you show up in a unique way, you package a system in this way, it keeps you from needing to chase trends. It keeps you from the desperate need, which you look like you're thirsty if you're just hopping on every trend on the internet. It keeps you from feeling like you need to do this, and it sets you apart from the masses and it puts you at the top of everybody else because now you have a real opinion and you're trustworthy. And even if people don't agree, they know that that's uniquely you, and people will get on your bus if they want or hop off if they don't. So now let's talk about how we can actually decide what kind of content to make. I know a lot of you guys are thinking that's great and well. I already have a niche. I do it in a completely unique way. I just, only my grandma and my mom watches my stuff and I got to figure out how to break through. So before we do that though, step 3 is probably the reason why you haven't broken through, and maybe why, actually, I know this is why most people are inconsistent, because this was my manifesto for 10 years of me being consistent, being inconsistent. Every time I wasn't motivated to post or I wasn't posting at least one video a week, it was because of this. And that is, choose a content style that fits your life first and foremost. All of the gurus out there or experts or even people that just give advice that have large audiences, they'll say, copy the large creators out there or copy success and you'll get it as well. My students and myself, even back in the day, would try to do that and we would just burn out, switch niches, call it quits, or pivot to something else, like a totally different business model, network marketing, or whatever. What people don't realize is that content style is so important. I've done everything, all right? Vlogs, behind the scenes, B-roll, voiceovers. Now, this is obviously talking head. You have to understand that content style and what you commit to from day one affects everything. It affects your energy, your mental state, your consistency, and your output. And it also affects burnout. And I think the most important thing is income potential and 100 other things that I didn't mention. And so this is the critical factor in knowing if you will succeed or fail this year as a creator. And so the number one most critical factor in understanding and believing and knowing that you will succeed this year as a content creator is how you will create your content and what your niche demands of you. And I said this in my last video, but you want to ask yourself this question: how will I be able to get my content on the internet? And this is what I wrote in huge letters, and it's actually on my bathroom mirror, no matter the circumstances. So whatever I tell you guys, I'm also repeating back to myself. This is my year's manifesto. My motto is get it done no matter the circumstances. I have a herd of children. I have 5 kids. Never thought I'd be here. I school them myself with my husband helping semi with math. I have no grandparent help, no nannies, no daycare. It's my husband and I and our team of 4 also running this full-time online business and then schooling these little kids and all our toddlers. It's wild. And because of this very full and blessed life, so many things come up that prevent us from creating content. Remember, under any circumstances or whatever I said to myself, all right? So if your life is extra full like mine, make the way that you create content with the least amount of friction. This is what I've come to the realization, especially because on my main channel and my main Instagram account with my other massive email list, there's so much potential for me to grow, but it requires, at least in the motherhood niche where I came from, a lot of B-roll, a lot of sharing your life. And so as much as I love vlogging or just showing behind the scenes, it is not realistic in my phase of life. I could do that, but it's not for me and my natural bent. I'm not really going to be consistent. If I have to put my family on the internet, I would come across so many different roadblocks and I would burn out so fast. So talking head it is, but it totally depends person to person, what your preference is. But also I would take a good hard look at what does my niche require? If you're able to do talking head like these, yeah, they're more bland. People want like drone shots nowadays and like a jump cut every 3 seconds. Their attention span is like ants. But if that is not something you can faithfully produce consistently every week, just work within your constraints and get it done. Remember, no matter freaking what. A great example of the opposite of doing talking head content that also is very easy for this creator is one of our older students. Her name is Lara from Our Oily House. We worked with her in the past. She's not older, but basically she does it the opposite of me. So she's figured out a way. I think she has 8 kids, something like that. She has a huge family and she homeschools as well. She does this full time. She's very successful in selling her products. Basically, she B-rolls her week, all right? She does like a bunch of different shots. She overlays a voiceover for her videos and she calls it a day, okay? And that is easiest for her, but everybody's very different. On the flip side, another one of our students, Katie and Elisha Vogtberg, I find them very interesting because they put out 2 podcasts a week. One is an interview and one of them is also a live Q&A. They used to record it, put it up. Obviously, I would assume that there's some editing involved and they just simplified it even more. They just press the live button, they do a Q&A, and they cut out the need to edit. Simplifying is the way to go. Don't assume that you need 100 hours to put out a video. Ask yourself, if it could be easy, how? All right, so it doesn't have to be hard. You're probably overcomplicating things. You want to choose the easiest and repeatable option that you can scale week after week. Step 4 is you want to film raw and not polished. So as you guys can imagine, the internet is saturated with perfect edits, people trying to sound super smart. I find, especially since I've been on the internet since like 2014, 15, that when I built my initial cult following where I had people flying from across the country to come to meetups with introverted, awkward, shy me, I realized that raw and realness builds trust faster than anything else. So when people in my own life ask, like, how do you build a following? How do you get people to like you? I'm so awkward. I'm shy. I tell them the same thing. You need to be 110% yourself. Now, obviously, you don't want to like throw everything up on the internet that is embarrassing or stuff you don't want the public to know. But whatever information you are sharing, you want to talk like you talk. You want to leave in the pauses, the likes and the ums. I find, and this is what I tell my students, people can smell a rat. But I know that when building my first audience, there was such high amount of trust with the people I had been posting to for years that they knew when I wasn't telling the truth. They knew when I was omitting information. They knew when I was not being myself. And obviously that's going to happen because you want to shelter yourself a little from criticism, but that's a good thing because it means they know you so well. They will buy from you. They will watch your content. They will take you seriously when you have something to say. And so just being 100% yourself and dropping the content voice is how you build trust with people. But beyond that, you're probably thinking, okay, I got to be myself. The only way you can do that is to show up on camera day in and day out. What I tell people is to do it within your first 30 days. When you know that you don't have to maintain this consistency for years, you're more apt to try as many times as you can. So take the next 30 days and post as much as you can, even if that means going live on Instagram or creating a reel. YouTube is my bread and butter. It's way better than any other platform because it compounds, it pays you, and all of the above. People trust long form content. But when it comes to showing up, create a video a day in whatever fashion, put it on the internet, get the raw feedback, and then improve day in and day out. And you will end up finding your voice and being more confident. Step number 5 is how to get views doing this method. It's all good and well to say post a lot, fingers crossed, hopefully the people will come. They will not. I found many YouTube channels where they're posting for like 3 years and they're like, Haley, please help me. They just can't get views. That's usually for a couple different reasons that I cover in other videos. But we're going to talk about how to take your content and yes, go viral and grow seemingly overnight. Right now, most of the students in our program, they go viral within the first 10 videos. That's only 10 tries and they're growing a rather large audience. A lot of them do so because of this method. This is called the coined Golden Nugget Method, which I figured out after years of posting and talking to just my mom and my sister. I learned through blood, sweat, and tears that you do not need new ideas. You need to find what YouTube is already hungry for. The Golden Nugget Method is basically how we do that. You are going to look for high demand, meaning people are clearly interested, and low supply, meaning there's not a lot of videos on the internet, because that is where smaller channels blow up seemingly overnight. High demand looks like you will see small creators going viral in the last 30 to 90 days. This is ideally on multiple different small channels. Low supply looks like each of these videos on the same topic is viral in contrast to the channel's size. So you're probably like, what the heck does this mean? Here's a great example. This creator might already have gone viral, so it's not going to make sense. So I'll read the actual numbers. But basically, here's her student. She just went viral 3 weeks ago for like, I don't know, she's been viral multiple times now, but her channel size is relatively small, 20,000 subs. If you have 1,000 subs right now or 0, you're going to want to look at even smaller creators, but 20,000 subs is still a small channel. Okay, nowadays, I wouldn't say it's even mid-size, but she went viral because she found other creators doing topics similar to the one that she did. So she put up a video called "The Bible Taught Me How to Manage My Time Better Than Any Self-Help Book." So I talk about this in another video. I'll link up here down below, but it's called niche stacking. She combined biblical motherhood with productivity and self-help. She stacked those niches, created a niche of her own, which is what we tell you how to become novel, how to set yourself apart. And she got 300,000 views within the last 3 weeks. And that's like as of today. Your job is very simple. You need to find the patterns in parallel niches, which I talk about in a lot of other videos, and also within your own niche. And you want to provide the supply. So here's how you do it. And this is what Lauren did as well. You want to look within your niche. Let's say you're in motherhood. You're going to look at all the moms that do videos like you. And you also want to look in parallel niches. So there's motherhood, but you have to ask yourself, what else applies to motherhood that I'm interested in, that I have a passion in, that I could serve people in, and that I could help them with, right? So there's motherhood, but then there's cleaning, organization, systems, sometimes homeschooling, parenting, cooking. I mean, mothers do everything, right? So you want to look at all of the parallel niches so that you're not just a copycat of all the other mommies in your niche, which I did for years. And that was the reason I plateaued on my main channel for the first couple of years. Everyone's copying each other, right? You want to look at all the umbrella niches around motherhood and find the gaps. So let's say you go over to the organization niche and you find a lot of creators, whether they're moms or not, going viral for minimalism. And so you're bringing minimalistic principles into the motherhood niche. You start doing videos geared towards moms on minimalism because you see small creators in the minimalist niche going viral within just a couple of views, and they have a really small channel. But that is how you go viral in a nutshell. So step number 6 is you want to create bingeable content that builds momentum like a snowball on your channel over time. So I found in posting hundreds of videos that real growth does not happen when someone watches one video. A lot of creators are waiting for their next lucky strike, like they're playing the lotto. If only I could get my next hit. I talk about getting views like it's getting an IV of drugs in your veins. You feel happy once you get a viral hit and then it goes down. You need more. It's a terrible analogy, but that's literally how I felt on my main channel when I was the breadwinner doing this with sponsorships and AdSense, which is not what I teach, and more on that in the next step. But anyways, it doesn't happen through these viral hits. It happens if you're smart and strategic when people watch 3, 4, 5, or 6 videos in a row, thus creating that snowball effect. So most creators are obsessed with getting new viewers every single time they upload, but that is backwards. The real goal is to increase the lifetime value, or LTV, of every single viewer to get the same person to keep watching all of your videos. Ideally, you want one person to stumble upon your channel because it's suggested or your video is ranked on YouTube, and you want all the other videos to apply to them. And that's how the YouTube flywheel starts. And so here's exactly how you do it in a nutshell. So every single video should solve one specific problem, but intentionally set up the next question. So there's always the clear, what to watch next literally applies to what they just watched. This is why your content needs to be episodic, not absolutely random like my first channel, because when all your videos live inside the same sticky sub-niche system, one video will boost the next one, and the next one pulls up the last 3, and suddenly your entire channel snowballs, even if some videos don't pop on their own. Obviously, to make this work, you can't have vanilla boring content. Your content has to be deeply moving to people or helpful to people. You want it to be bingeable. So every single word has to have a job. You can't have fluff unless it's intentionally placed there. Viewers should leave thinking, well, that actually helps. This is new information I've never come across before. And you obviously want to do this constantly, but very naturally. You want to reference your other videos. You see me do this throughout this video because I've thought about all the things that you guys need in relation to content creation. When I say, hey, I teach you how to niche stack like I did in this video, watch it up here and watch it down below. I get one person to watch another video versus needing new followers every video, right? And so I'll say strategically, if you want to understand this part better, go watch the next video. This creates a backlog and gives YouTube more chances to recommend you. And so I found that when people trust you, they give you more attention. And when they give you more attention, YouTube will open the floodgates. And I tell my students, it's almost like training a wild horse. You have to train your individual YouTube algorithm and tell it, hey, this is my next video. This is who I want you to send it to. And then again, right, do that over and over and over so that they know this channel is for this and they're going to open the floodgates in that way. But let's make this first realistic with your actual life. So this leads me to step number 7. You want to not only go viral, do the Golden Nugget Method, train the algorithm like it's a wild beast, right? You want to build a schedule that works inside your constraints. So a lot of the time on this channel, I give YouTube tips advice, like how to get 4,000 watch hours, how to go viral, how to sell your own products, how to do courses and coaching and do sponsors, all the tactical stuff. A lot of my channel, actually, I try to talk about the internal stuff as well, because I've had all the tactics along with many colleagues and friends, but why are we still not consistent? Why are we still complaining that it's too hard? Time scarcity, I found, which is number 7, is normal, okay? Overcommitting is optional. So I found that fewer videos done consistently beats like massively ambitious schedules for me. So you want to normalize like 1 video per week, batch filming, seasonal energy shifts, as fluffy as that is. And so for me, what this looks like is I need to find 2 times a day. Right now, I have a 3-month-old baby. My husband's got my 5 kids in the front yard. I got to be done in 15 minutes so my kids can go to speech and debate. How in the world am I going to pump out as much content as humanly possible this year with all of the crazy circus that is my life? So I asked myself, okay, what do I actually need? What is the bare bare minimum for me to maintain consistently within my business and to also make my husband and kids happy. Everybody is different depending on your niche. For instance, if you are doing gardening, like one of our students, Courtney grows, she probably doesn't need 2 times a day. She needs to water the potatoes. I'll put her on screen. She's amazing. But she has to tend to a garden in order to make content. So it's going to be different for all of us. I chose Talking Head for a reason because I want to get it done and rip it off like a Band-Aid. Anyways, I need 2 times a day, one for scripting and research and one for filming. And I outsource the editing. And a lot of our new students do that as well. It's cheaper than you think. To give you an example, 10 a.m. while my husband goes on a walk or a bike ride with our kids, after some homeschooling, I will script and research. And then 3 p.m., which is right now, he does a unit study with them. I've prepped it all for the whole year. Right now he's doing wildcraft, which is learning how to survive in nature, right? It's interesting to him and to them. I thought of everything to get this done, you guys. You have no idea. And so I realized though that this is a privilege, right? You're probably thinking right now in your head, you're like, Haley, I work a full-time job. My kids are in school and daycare. And how in the world am I ever going to do this? Or we have students, they're like single moms. I freaking understand. I've never done that, but I started YouTube when my husband worked full time. I had a baby and then I had 2. And then I was working nights with light boxes. I've done it all, so you can't tell it's day. I've done the craziest things, trust me. But basically my advice to you is find something that is simple and predictable, something that doesn't have a lot of friction in your life so that you can just get it done. Remember, no matter the circumstances, priming your environment and just giving yourself margin is the best way to not overcomplicate it and burn you out faster than anything else. So step number 8 for this year is from day 1. Now we're going to shift to more strategy, right? Collect emails. You want to turn views into a real two-way relationship within your audience. So YouTube, you have to know, is traffic borrowed. I feel like everybody knows this because so many YouTubers are getting their channels demonetized and they're doing big videos on it that are going viral. Or, for me years ago, my comments got disabled. Now they're turned back on my main channel, but that was a huge wake-up call. My traffic is borrowed and I have to get people off the platform. Email is owned. Opt-ins, which is basically when I say, hey, go get the guide that goes along this video, click the link down below, which we do have one and I will link it for you guys. They should be very simple, right? Problem specific so that it's a direct extension of your content so that you can get people's email address. Views and subscribers shouldn't be like the blood in your veins. It should be emails, you guys, emails. 1,000-person email list is 100,000 times more lucrative and more important and more effective for building a business than 1,000 subbed channel. Honestly, you might as well put it to 0 because it doesn't do anything. And the reason for that is because when you have someone's email, they're almost certainly going to get your email versus if you put a video out, your subscribers don't even see it, right? So you don't need funnels from day 1, which is a big word I talk about in other videos, but you need one helpful free thing, right? You want margin, you want simplicity, you want to get it done no matter the circumstances. So you need a YouTube channel and you want to start with an email list. So for example, here's mine. It's linked below every single video, very simple. It's how I go from 0 to full-time on YouTube. I did a video maybe last year and it was 0 to $1 million creator in 12 months, step-by-step plan. I made a guide that went with it that was 0 to 100K creator in 12 months. So I made a guide specific to that video. It should go along with the videos that you're creating so that you're not only looking at the views per your video, but how many email subscribers those views got. You're probably like, why do I even need an email list? That leads me to step number 9, which is the most important thing you could ever get from this video. You need to sell your own product from day 1. Obviously, you're not going to create a YouTube channel and be like, here's my course or here's my coaching program, unless you already have one. That's brilliant. Most people, it's not that easy. They have to figure out who are they? They have to shift their identity, figure out all the constraints in their life. How are they going to get the freaking videos on the internet, right? And so you're like, whoa, Haley, how can I do this from day 1? But really, it's just like a mental state. Selling your own products is the secret to turning YouTube into a business and not just a hobby. My husband and I have gone the traditional subscriber focused sponsorship path, and that burnt me out after doing it for like 2 years. I got up to $20,000 a month in sponsorships and AdSense. I realized needing to get views and maintain and also grow an audience, so much work away from my kids. So we pivoted everything right when when COVID hit because Sponsored pulled out because of COVID and for many, influencers out there. And I realized I didn't own my audience. I was at the mercy of 100 other brands and I was like their mouthpiece. So we pivoted to digital products, courses, and coaching. I love that I don't need a huge audience anymore. I need a small focused audience and I out earn my old channel like times 100. So we went from 0 to 7 figures in under 18 months by pivoting from sponsorships and AdSense to just digital products. And I learned that one sale to your own products can equal thousands of views worth of AdSense. And that's because you keep 90% of the revenue to your info products. So instead of making pennies while brands make millions for obvious reasons, you own the product and the profit. So you control the offer. You don't have to memorize scripts. You don't have to give revisions to brands. You don't have to get approved to put up content. You also don't have to maintain a massive audience that decides your income level. You stop also trading time for money, which is the best part. And it's just changed our life in such a radical way. Once we started to have a highly converting funnel, which is like my stuff actually sells and it works with my YouTube channel, I don't have to do anything else except for show up here. My husband is doing a little unit study with our kids a couple times a week, and we're able to hit a wild amount of income because we own the product, which is what we teach. And so you just really want to start with one simple product and sell before everything feels ready. Maybe you're not a super expert on how to be a bodybuilder, but you want to teach moms how to lose weight. Like one of our students does this, Rebecca Madsnick on YouTube. You just sell, from A to B. You're just going to tell them how to lose the first 10 pounds. You want to start with where you're at. And as you learn more, increase your prices from then on. You're basically just selling before everything feels ready so that you can start building this business. You're improving after people buy, not before, not waiting until you're ready, right? And so the last step, number 10, is to set expectations and commit to 90 days. I find that most people quit right before it works, which is so sad. And honestly, what I wish I knew and what I tell my students is you want to normalize low early views. It's not that you're bad, you're an introvert, you're shy. It's that you literally don't have the skills, so you just have to work to get them. You want to normalize, like you're awkward. Yes, and that's normal. I was awkward too. You can look back at my old videos. You want to normalize slow confidence and you want to challenge yourself to just 90 days. You don't want to pivot. You don't want to quit because most of the time you are literally just one video away from changing your life. So that is pretty much it for this video. If you got value from this, subscribe if you're new, get my free masterclass down below. You can watch it at your leisure. It's basically how I do this with all of these kids, how my business is set up, and exactly what we teach. And so if you got value, like this video and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.